r/AskReddit. Why did that teacher get fired from your school? Students laughed she ate toothpaste. Turns out she was an alcoholic trying to cover her breath. 9 out of 10 alcoholics recommend. The 10th one passed out and couldn't recommend it. Oddly enough, the 10th alcoholic was a dentist. My math teacher was a volunteer first responder in New York. She left school to help out during 9/11 and was fired for not showing back up for 2 weeks. Ducking hell. The students and parents fought for her, but I think she decided not to come back because of the outright ducked upness. She made a good choice. Sounds like it would have been a toxic work environment anyways. She had fallen off the wagon and was drinking a lot to the point where it was affecting her memory. We kept doing the same lecture on density in 6th grade science for a month until one of my classmates decided to ask another teacher about it. From there she went to rehab. If anyone wants more context, she was our homeroom and science teacher. She was very nice and married to our assistant principal, so she had a little bit more leeway. While she was able to remain sober for a while, she eventually passed away due to the effects of her addiction a few years after this. She never seemed like a bad teacher, but she was always stressed to the absolute maximum, always felt like she was working from behind, and generally struggling to keep up. You know, the traditional tail end of the functioning addict lifestyle. Your knowledge on density must be phenomenal. Do not fear the man who has learned 1000 concepts once, but the man who has learned one concept 1000 times. 2 teachers, they got caught ducking in a classroom. My 5th grade teacher got caught ducking the IT dude in her classroom while we were out for recess. Neither got fired, but were transferred to other schools. Now I'm really starting to wonder if any of my other teachers were ducking each other and nobody ever found out. You want it to be the young and attractive ones, but it's really the 72-year-olds on the verge of retirement. Actually not really, at least not in the case that I mentioned. My science teacher was in her early 30s, blonde, blue eyes, nice body, she was incredibly attractive. The guy was around his late 30s or early 40s, used to be really overweight, but at the time he had shed off all of the fat and had a pretty muscular physique. Doesn't change the fact that we all thought he was a douche. Lol. Dating a 16-year-old female student. He was also a PE teacher. It's always the PE teachers. I mean, if someone is trying to creep on students, what better job than the one that has them changing before/after as well as stretching and exercising, aka moving bodies around. This one is actually sort of rather sad. Had an amazing but eccentric math teacher who was incredibly involved with helping students. He made sure to always cover his bases, so there was nothing really creepy about him. The year I left high school, was a senior at this time, went on to finish my GED. He was fired. Shortly after, news an article that he had killed himself with a self-inflicted gunshot. What had happened during this period of time was a student had come forward to the administration and accused him of sexual misconduct, both of them being males, and unfortunately there was no real way to prove a negative for the missing time outside of school hours, so they promptly let him go. Being a gay, black teacher in South Texas. Rough. He wrote a letter basically denying all of the accusations, but had come to the grim realization that at his age, his career was effectively over, so he shot himself in the head. Later, the student who made the accusations came forward and said he had fabricated the entire event because he was failing his grades and angry. The whole event was quietly swept under the rug. Holy shit, that's depressing. I feel terrible for him. That's honestly one of my worst fears. One of the elementary school teachers at the district I went to got arrested for making his class worship him like he was a cult leader. He was totally bonkers. What the hell? I don't know whether to laugh or be shocked. This is the weirdest one yet. Yeah, we all knew he was really odd, but I never expected him to start making the class call him master and making them say that he was a higher power. I had a football coach like that. He made us call him God. I signed out of the team pretty quickly. Oh, my football coach, that's insane. He didn't come to parent-teacher interview night. The next day, he was late for class and crashed his pickup into a brick sign outside the school. Cops showed up obviously and allegedly he blew twice the legal limit. He called the principal a cunt as he was taken away. Just while he was at it, might as well vent some grudges. Our new band teacher was a young guy, fresh out of college. His first year teaching, and he embezzled about $1,000 from the band's funds. He got arrested, and his possible future career ruined for $1,000. Edit. Probably my favorite part of the story was that he went by the name Mr. E. So once he was gone, the ruthless band kids referred to him as Mr. Embezzlement. I had a teacher with a gambling addiction claim thousands of dollars collected under his care was lost. School never reported it in and protected him because he was close to retirement. Our beloved teacher, Mr. Morn, had worked there for 29 years without incident and was one of the best teachers there. His classroom was always a laugh riot. He was the best roaster and encourages us to roast him properly. He never failed to get us motivated, and a lot of us owe our career inspiration from him. He was fired because he had jokingly smacked a student on the back of his head for making a stupid comment. It was like something out of a sitcom and all of us expected it and loved it. Yet one student, who was new at the school, was culture shocked by this. He thought it was strange but hilarious. He told his mom offhandedly, and his mom became the Karen. Never mind that the student was the teacher's godson, no physical contact was allowed, says the Karen. He was suspended with pay for 3 months pending investigation, then was let go because the Karen twisted the story and it blew up around the school. A year later, teacher won both the lawsuit against the school and libel case against the Karen, with her son being one of the key witnesses. We still keep in contact and roast him for getting rich over smacking kids around. Holy shit, imagine your son testifying against you for a libel case. She's always been kind of a bitch, Your Honor. And you're a son of a bitch. Wait. Geekier/V teacher that everyone loved. Knew he was a geek and owned it. Caught in a predator sting trying to solicit underage girls. The kicker was a spring school levy was coming up. Local police conspired with the school district to hide the charges for 3 weeks until the levy was passed. Someone substituted his class for 3 weeks. Yay, everyone was both devastated and pissed. The district ended the school year early. Does levy have a meaning besides drafting your serfs into a standing army? Yay, it means to impose a tax or fine. In this instance it would be a new tax proposal was coming up that would benefit the school. Explained elasticity by pulling the brass strap of a girl. Hey sissy, come here, so I can explain the female reproduction to the class. Sir, but you haven't explained the male one yet. Sighs, and unzips pant. Arrested by the FBI for credit card fraud. It was a few months after the arrest when the reason why he disappeared came out in the open. After some of the others, I'm actually okay with yours. Imagine sitting in science class with the sub speaking and just thinking, well, at least it was only credit fraud. The principal of my elementary school got fired the first year he was hired. Or took leave, before he was arrested. I'm not actually sure which came first. So a couple kids in my 4th grade class thought they'd prank the science teacher by pouring iodine and bleach into his coffee when he wasn't looking. The teacher tasted it as soon as the drink hit his tongue and immediately spit it out. He grilled the class and the kids admitted to it and got sent to the principal's office. The principal found out which of them physically poured the chemicals into the coffee, then took him into the bathroom to discipline him, hit him. Apparently he grabbed the bottom of his jaw while screaming in his face. You could hear him echoing through the hallway. Then he squeezed hard enough that the boy started crying. So he slapped him across the face and told him to stop crying. The kid's dad was a lawyer, by the way. Suddenly cops were in the building and our new principal was out the door. I mean, yes, they were kids. But you literally could have just killed that guy if he had just gulped it. Duckers. Some kids at my high school put Drano in the chemistry teacher's water bottle and she, unfortunately, did gulp it and had to have reconstructive surgery to repair the damage to her esophagus/digestive tract. Edit. It appears my retelling was slightly incorrect. It was a single student and they were caught and charged. My high school of less than 500 students lost 5 teachers last year because they all had a relationship with the same 15-year-old girl. Is this real? Sadly. The story is that this girl started flirting with all her male teachers to get attention and good grades, and they all flirted back and sent her nudes and stuff. Then at the end of the year, when she realized how ducked up it was, she exposed them to the whole school. He was a wonderful, friendly and handsome teacher. This girl had a crush. Some bitch told the teacher about this girl's crush. The teacher felt awkward and avoided her eyes from then on. Girl got hurt. Complained to the principal that he was being creepy with her. All the heads, which included my father, were called for a meeting with him. He got sick of defending himself. Shouted, "Duck you all," and left the school. They fired him before he could hand out his resignation. Edit. To clarify some things. It was one of the best schools and all the rich kids studied there. I studied because my father was a faculty, otherwise we don't have so much money, and hence teachers were dealt with very harshly. On one occasion, a teacher was fired only because it seemed on the cameras that he hit a boy hard. The parents complained, and he was fired the next day without listening to him at all. My father knew that he just patted him, but the kid was spoiled and he lied. Also, the teacher was a junior one. Nothing happened to the girls. Our IC might have talked to them about it, but I don't know about that. They graduated fine. No problem. I got to know about this incident later. When I was there, I just knew that he knows she has a crush on him and that he left one day. I mentioned my father so that you'll know how I know what happened in the meeting. He just knew that a girl has complained and now they are called. Also, the teacher we are talking about was every student's favorite. So other teachers were jealous and they all assumed he is very lenient and encourages us to not follow other teachers and stuff. So it might have made it hard for him to say he stayed professional always. My sociology teacher in high school was fired for throwing a chalkboard eraser at a sleeping student's head. He was a great teacher and always did this in good humor. Obviously not a great idea in retrospect, but we all knew that we could get away with sleeping in his class if we didn't mind getting an eraser upside the head if he noticed. I heard he was fired a few years after I graduated high school, and that kinda bummed me out. He pushed some dumbass kid who hit him against a wall. So he defended himself? Yeah, he was. That's stupid. It goes against what one would think is common sense, but back when I was subbing, we were told through training videos not engage physically with a student. No rushing in to break up a fight or anything like that. Yell for students to break it up or maybe get between them as a last result. Say you do something to a student while defending yourself. The parents are 1,000,000% going to play it up and try to make their kid the victim. My AP chemical teacher had an affair with the principal. Principal got fired too. I felt bad for her. They didn't do anything on school property and it didn't impact her performance in the classroom. Also, the school wasn't able to find a qualified teacher to replace her halfway through the year, so we were all ducked come test time at the end of the year. Not one of us passed that AP test. That's messed up. There are very few teachers in a given school that are capable of teaching AP, especially without training. Not to mention that it was a rural area where there wasn't a surplus of teachers period, much less ones prepared for higher level courses. I don't blame the district for not being able to find an adequate replacement, but I do blame them for firing her in the first place. He was playing his guitar for students at my elementary school. He had been warned before, but the kids enjoyed it, so he continued to play it for them anyways. One day, the assistant principal was lurking in the hallway and wandered to his classroom. She saw him playing his guitar and fired him on the spot. A whole lot of students were crying that day because he was an amazing guy. I don't see anything wrong with a little bit of music. Enjoyment in learning isn't allowed apparently. He straight up didn't show up to work one Monday, didn't call in to arrange a sub or anything. He ghosted the school for a whole week and then tried to come in the following Monday like nothing happened. We also had a 5th grade teacher overdose on meth, but I honestly don't know if she got fired or resigned. It didn't happen at school. My grade 2 teacher also got fired for not showing up. She did at least make plans for us most of the time, but we went weeks without seeing her. The school went into lockdown because someone was seen hopping over the fence onto campus at the start of the school day. Freshman geography teacher locked his door, didn't control his class, wouldn't let one of the students back in, and jumped at every sound he heard. For comparison, the sub in senior literature next door didn't have a key to lock the door, but grabbed the handle, got on the floor, and planted both his feet on the frame so that the door couldn't be opened. I think the dude was a linebacker for football too. The fact that he got in trouble for not letting a student in is BS. It's a harsh truth, but I'm a teacher, are trained to keep the door closed no matter what. It's called a lockdown for a reason, and we could get in big trouble for opening the door once it is locked. It's a harsh rule, but you never know who or what is dangerous. You must protect the people inside your room, and that means literally locking it down. Hodder.